What we do here is go back.
You never know, that might even work. Wait for the update. And there we go, we're live. Good evening, it is Wednesday, 29th of April 2020, and tonight is an impromptu live stream. Tonight I'm going to be building a PC, a budget oriented PC. One of my friends has actually messaged me yesterday and said, Mike, I need a PC, I'm bored senseless, I'm stuck in my workplace, there's not a lot going on, I need a PC to relieve the boredom and the monotony. What have you got? So I had a look around, see what bits and pieces I had that I could put something together for him. What is something cheap and cheerful, but able to play some moderate gaming if time permits, but also wanted to keep it to a really, really low budget. So we'll go through and we'll introduce some of the parts, but first of all, say hello to all of you that are joining tonight, and what do you think of the new studio? Which is not really the new studio, but is kind of the new studio again. So we went through this week, it's been a nightmare actually, last 3 days I suppose. All of this stuff behind you, or behind me even, had all gone, and we had some desks here. We tried it out for a video, but it just didn't work. So kind of taken the whole thing apart, redone it, and we got loads of new shelves which we put up, which actually if I press number 4, hopefully you should see the other screen now. And you can see, I do apologise for the cam. It's a Logitech camera, which there's not many about in the world at the moment, so you can see what it is. And as you can see up behind me, I've got all these shelves which we've put up. So I've got some fans over there, I've got my home automation stuff, got my drone, and got all the spares and bits and pieces that we're using for builds and what have you. So everything has been elevated off the floor so I can actually get to stuff rather than having to move loads of stuff out of the way to try and get to film. This studio that we film in, which isn't a studio, it's basically my dining room and kind of living room almost. It's tiny. It literally is, 12 foot by 11 foot. I feel like Phil Schofield in the actual, in the broom cupboard with Gordon the Gopher, for those of you old enough to remember. What's it?
Put the other camera on.
Oh, put the other camera on, sorry, yeah. There we go, we're back. So you've seen all that stuff now. You get the idea, you see what's going on. So yeah, it's been quite the week trying to get everything up and done, and we haven't actually spent a great deal of money. The IKEA desks didn't cost a lot, so if any of you out there want a IKEA Limmon desk with some Aldi's legs, let me know. If you're in the local Bristol area, you can come and pick them up for relatively little cost. So let's say hello to those of you in the chat with us live tonight. We've got Ghost Adder, who was first. Thank you, Ghost Adder, for joining us. British Noobs in the house. Also, we've got Kath, she's in the house as always, because she is right here literally in the house. We've got Angry Doges in the house, and Welsh Tony's in the house also. Wayne Williams, Milch Monster, Owen Fane, Wayne Williams, we said. Private Hudson says hello. Yeah, so, Bucky Cat's in the house as well. So we've got a few of you in there, so let's get this thing started. So tonight's build, like I said, is going to be a real kind of cost-effective one. I'm trying to make the most of the parts, but also leave it with some room for growth and a little bit of manoeuvring later on down the line. So let's start with the motherboard, which is going to be powering all this. So motherboard-wise, going with my old favourite, the ASUS Prime X370 Pro. This is a fantastic board, it genuinely is. Even now in 2020, this board's 3 years old now, but still absolutely rocks as far as performance is concerned. 12-phase VRM, so it can cope with pretty much anything you throw at it. I've used 1700X on this, which is a pretty monstrous processor. Absolutely flawless, so absolutely fantastic board. Part of the reason for using this as well is also my friend who actually wants the PC, I know he's into his gadgets, so he's going to want he's going to want USB Type-C, which is built into the header on the back. Also needs loads of USBs, so they're all catered for. And because we're going to be using an APU, which could be connected either by a HDMI or DisplayPort, this board actually has HDMI and DisplayPort, so take advantage of any of those features.
Milch Monster says, does X370 still an option for overclocking?
Milch Monster's question, is this still viable for overclocking? Yeah, totally. X370 is, again, 12-phase VRM. It gives a lot of the modern boards a run for their money. A lot of the kind of mid-range B450 boards, and even some of the lower-end X570s like the MSI Pro A, this thing leaves it standing, it really does. These are fantastic boards. You can pick them up pretty cheaply now as well. When they first came out, you'd be looking at about £200 for one of these. They dropped down to about £150, £160. But now on the used market, you can pick these up for around about the sort of £80 to £100 mark, which actually is phenomenal value for money. Again, compare this with maybe the MSI B450 Tomahawk. This thing will leave it standing. 12-phase VRM is a lot better than what is on the MSI, which I think is an 8-phase or 6+2. So yeah, this is still an amazing board. Loads of features. It lacks addressable RGB, which potentially for some could be an issue, but for this, what we're doing, we're going to give it a little bit of color, but it's not going to be over the top and it's not going to be software controlled. So keeping things simple, but with a really, really excellent foundation for the board. So that is the board we're going to be using processor-wise. Now, they'll pick this up cheap. This is a Ryzen 3 3200G. So this is a 4-core processor, also has Vega 8 graphics built in. So it's not an absolute rocket, but it actually does perform pretty well and will boost up to 4 GHz relatively easily. And on this board, we should be able to tweak it a little bit more than that. You do find when you're using APU, because it actually has the graphics and the processor all in the same chiplet, the demands on the VRMs is actually quite high because you're doing that graphics processing as well. So this is going to be a great option. This I picked up a little bit cheaper because basically it didn't have the full retail packaging, but it did come with obviously the processor itself, and it also comes with the stock AMD cooler, which is, I think, is the Wraith Stealth. Yeah, that's the Wraith Stealth. It's got the uprated fan, so it's a little bit better, but we're probably not going to be using that. We're going to be using, which leads us on nicely to the cooler. So we're going to be using the Thermaltake UX100, which is a rainbow cooler. This is what's going to give us our extra bit of RGB.
Owen Thing said, building a system with 3200G tomorrow, what GPU should I consider for an upgrade in the future?
That's a good question from Owen there. If you're going to be upgrading this at a later date, what GPU should you pair with it? Realistically, probably an RX 580 is kind of like the sweet spot, price and performance wise. Either that or a GTX 1650 Super, something along those lines. You can go a little bit higher if you want to, 1660, or maybe even a 1070 might be a really good option for this. Hopefully that answers your question. Next up is going to be the RAM. So we're going with the Silicon Power. These are the turbine sticks, the X Power models. These are DDR3200, so these are going to be fantastic because they're high speed, so it's going to work nicely with the Ryzen APU, which does like higher clock speeds. And these sticks are certified to work perfectly with this board, so we're going to have no problems there at all. Just flick on XMP and we're good to go.
If you dab, British Noob will unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe. Okay, I won't do that then. British Noob says dab and I unsub. Angry Doe says dab, Mike. There'll be no dabbing going on here quite yet. Maybe later, if this works.
And the stock stealth cooler is terrible. Anything better than that.
Yeah, the stock stealth cooler isn't great. Obviously, if you're on a budget and you need to get the job done, go ahead and use it. The Thermaltake cooler actually, I think it supports up to 65 watt parts realistically, although I have seen the exact same cooler from a different brand, slightly modified, and it supports up to 95 watt CPUs, so take your pick. $9.99 for a processor fan I don't think is that outrageous. The RGB on it is really nice, so it's going to actually add a nice bit of flair to the build. So that's the RAM, the cooler. Hard drive wise, or SSD, we're going with this. This looks like it's unbranded, but this is actually a Silicon Power. I'm not sure of the actual model number of it. It's a 240 gig or 256 gig model, but again, it's going to be absolutely fine. When we get Windows on there, it's going to take up probably 35 gigs, maybe with a full install and the backups, that kind of thing. So it's going to give us another best part of 200 gigs on there for storage, games, office files, those kinds of things. Obviously you can expand it with a hard drive at a later date, but to get yourself up and running, this is absolutely fine. And the drive is got DRAM cache on it, so there's no issues there with it being one of those kind of horrible DRAM-less drives which slow right down. So that is that. Power supply wise, going with Old Faithful. This is the CIT ATV 500 watt Pro. I cannot stress enough how good this power supply is for the money. I've used 3 of these now, I think it is, maybe even 4. I am going to be ordering another one actually to keep as a spare because it is a really good little power supply. At the moment, somebody said that Amazon are doing these for £44, but if you click on the other sellers, Amazon themselves are also selling it for £34.99. If you're a Prime member, obviously free postage and all that kind of stuff. So for £35, a 500 watt bronze rated power supply with nice black cabling, can't go wrong. And for those of you who don't know what is going on, because the disco ball has come on, if you are kind enough or mad enough, whichever way the case may be, to donate money to Mike's Unboxing and drop us a super chat in a live stream, then the disco ball comes on and you get the disco lights. And hopefully there's going to be a lot more of those later on when this all gets lit up. But thank you very much to the British Noob. And his question is, how much not to dab? Okay, well, two British pounds seems fair at the moment. We should stick with that. Apostrophe has said, where's the new setup? It went, it's gone. Actually, I'll quickly do that. I'll put the webcam on and I'll give you a little quick tour of the changes that we've had, because some of you probably haven't seen it.
Tony says it looks the same, but it does look the same because it went back.
Yeah, it does look the same because it's been reverted. So what do we want? Number 4. So
blink and you'll miss it.
yeah, blink and you'll miss it. So over
I
that,
won't be in it.
you won't be in it. So over that side now, there's my desk. That is where I do all the video editing.
With a light.
And there is my studio light on top. The delay on this is horrendous. So there's a load of shelving actually behind that light, which I don't know if you can quite see, and there's an absolute ton of AirPod clones on there, which we're going to have to get rid of at some point. On this shelf at the top there is the drone at the top, and we've got our security cameras. Moving down, we've got the Typhoon fans and some Sahara stuff. And then on this side, we've got the TechWare keyboard at the top, a Master Keys light at the top, some Arctic stuff, a Gigabyte power supply, Zotac gaming, GeForce card, got some CPUs and stuff like that, and RIOTORO keyboards, and the PC, which is normally there. So not a lot has changed actually, it's all pretty much the same. Not a great deal of change there at all, to be honest with you. But it is completely different from what it was. We had the desk in here. It was odd. I think if I'd have had the shelves up when I put the desk in, it could have been a lot different. So it might still change. Oh, Jesus. So it might still change back. Who knows? These things do change. That's all part of it. The whole part of it is being fluid and flexible so you can change stuff when you want to. So case-wise, what are we going to use case-wise? So case-wise, we're going to be using the RIOTORO. This is the CR100TG. Oh, I've got a frog in my throat tonight. CR100TG, so you've got a nice tempered glass side panel. You've got the RGB strip on the front, which is absolutely beautiful when it's lit up. So looking forward to connecting all that up. On the top I/O ports, we've got a couple of USBs, and we've also got a USB 3, headphone jacks, all that kind of stuff. So nice and easy to use, nice and compact as well. So if you're using it in like an office setup where you haven't got a lot of room, or you've got a desk which is a bit small, this is a really good option. Yeah, pretty much it. Comes with a stock fan included, nice RGB, looks the part, and again, cheap and cheerful. When I originally got this for the review, I think it was about £35, but I have seen the prices start to creep up a little bit. So if you're thinking of getting one, do check the prices first, because for £35, it is a really good offer, pretty good value for money. But when you creep up a little bit more to 40, maybe 45, it does open up a lot of other possibilities. So anyway, let's get on and put this together. So first thing to do is we're going to assemble the motherboard, get all that put together, put the RAM on, all that kind of stuff. Then we'll put the power supply into the case. and pretty much you know the rest. It's not rocket science. Well,
Can you do an Intel build someday?
someone's asked, can I do an Intel build someday?
That's entertainment.
I possibly could do, as soon as they start offering some kind of value for money, which I don't think is going to happen for the foreseeable, so don't hold your breath on that one.
You're not moving it as a mesh front.
British Noobs after a case with mesh front. Ideally, I would say go with the Sahara, not the Sahara, that's a Freudian slip. Go with the GameX F15. It's a fantastic case. I really am pleased with that. I know a lot of people get stuff for review and they just say stuff, but generally it is brilliant. Very pleased with it. And for the money, yeah, you can't go wrong. The new Be Quiet, the was it the 500DX, that looks to be quite good as well. Although, from what I can tell, there doesn't seem to be a massive amount of difference between the mesh front and the solid front one. And I'll be honest with you, the solid front one didn't seem to be that good airflow-wise. I don't know. Slightly odd.
Wally Cos asked what happened to the squarish Thermaltake case you reviewed about a year ago.
What happened to the squarish Thermaltake case? Oh, that was the V20 or V21? Yeah, that, I don't know what I did, but I think I sold it to someone. Because I bought it for £20 quite cheaply, and it was just sitting around. I never used it. I think I sold it on a Facebook group for like £20, what I paid for it, just to get rid of it. It was, didn't get much use, to be honest with you, because my desk was a weird shape. Right, so let's get the processor installed. So usual setup, open the clasp, get your CPU, and easy way of working which way it goes. Look on the socket, it will say socket AM4, and just make sure that the writing on the CPU, where it says Ryzen, actually goes the same way. So you can see that is the Ryzen 3200G. Fantastic little chip.
Ricardo asks, 3200G would be better than an A series?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 3200G is much better than A series by quite a margin. So next, that's the CPU installed. It's really simple. What we do is just plop it on the slot, make sure that the CPU actually goes down into the pin holes without any force or insertion force. If there is any insertion force, potentially there's a bent pin, so you don't want to damage your pins. So just make sure it falls into the slot. I always like to keep my finger on the top and apply a little pressure while I move the retention arm. Again, don't have to, it's entirely up to you. So next thing to do is to put a little bit of paste on the CPU. This is the bit which always gets people triggered, so we shall have some fun with this. So if you're easily triggered by thermal paste, then do look away. Fortunately, this actually comes with its own paste as well, so that's there's a nice little sachet of grease there, thermal grease. I was going to use my MX4, but I've run out, so that yeah, that didn't work out. Not always easy to do as well, actually, with this. Is that going to come out? No, don't want to come out. Actually, it doesn't feel like there's anything in there.
Dried up.
Oh yeah, there we go. So you don't need too much on there, just a little blob in the middle should be absolutely fine. The Thermaltake cooler has actually got a relatively small base plate, so you don't need too much on there, and it does tend to spread out when the CPU hits the deck. So that should be enough. I'll just give you a closer look of how much is actually on there. If the camera will focus, it might do, you never know. So there you go, hopefully you can all see that.
You're not afraid of ESD?
No, I'm not afraid of ESD.
What is ESD?
Electrostatic discharge. So that is probably about enough. Some people might say that's a little bit underdone, but for me it seems to be fine. Now with this cooler, it's got quite a pain in the ass clip on it, because it's one of those kind of AMD style clips of old days, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is, hopefully you guys can see this. What I'm going to do is lever this bit down with my finger. Just hopefully, come on, wait, there we go. So with this tag on the back, that's going to go over the rear half there. And then gently rotate it round. And then on the other side, we've got like a thumb push. And that locks that into position. So that is it, done. Hopefully you can see us on there, so that's quite nice. And I don't seem to see if there's much paste actually squidged out the sides, so I think we've probably done quite a good job there. Now the cables that you can see here is, there is the RGB cable. So with this cooler, you can connect it up to addressable RGB header, but we don't have any on this board, so we're going to leave those as they are. But what we do have is a 3-pin fan header, which is that one there. So we're going to stick that onto the header just there. And then when we're done, we can put that in the board and we can tuck those things away. Keep those all out of the way, keep them tucked out of harm's way. So next thing to do is to put a RAM in.
XXXYYY, ASUS motherboard not available on Amazon scan overclockers area.
What's that? Someone's got a question. ASUS motherboard not available on Amazon scan overclockers or ARIA.
They are out a lot of things.
Oh, what? They're out of all ASUS boards or this particular board?
And also, Rasputin's got a question.
So RAM wise, open up the levers on the end. This is going to use slots 2 and 4. That's difficult to see. So a nice bit of equal pressure. And Kath says that Rasputin has a question. So he says, okay, so basically I bought a pre-built PC. I know, big mistake. And I downloaded NVIDIA GTX Experience and it automatically started updating my graphics card. And after it updated, all my games said that the graphics are way over my graphics card limit. Huh, that's slightly strange. I don't know why it would say that. 1650 is okay and should play most games relatively easily. Okay, so that is the processor, the cooler and the RAM installed on the board. So we can put that to one side now and we can start prepping the case, putting the power supply in and all that kind of good stuff. So let's switch back to the main camera. So let's tidy up some of this stuff that we don't need. So we'll get rid of that. The sachet of paste. Sachets of paste, I suppose you could keep. Let me grab some sellotape. Actually, Kath, can you grab that roll of sellotape, please?
Which one?
The clear one.
No colour?
Yeah. They won't see you. Don't look at Kath if you can see her. Thank you. So, oh, why is it always so difficult to find the end of a bit of tape?
Don't bite your nails.
Yeah, don't bite your nails, Kath says. That's not easy to do when you're a YouTuber, because there's lots of things which are worrying. Like, is this going to work? It should do. The processor actually, because it's one of those kind of open box processors, I genuinely don't know if it is going to work or not. So hopefully you'll stick around to the actual turning on to make sure it all works. And we'll go and set the BIOS up and all that kind of stuff. Or at least hopefully we will. If it works, it should do. If it doesn't, I probably will cry. This week has not been a good week. Very, very frustrating. And do you know how long it takes to drill into masonry, bricks and mortar, to those of you who don't know, to put shelves up? It is absolutely horrendous. Absolutely took me ages to drill to put all these shelves up. But it's worth it because I don't have loads of boxes everywhere. I can put it up in the air. It's great. I am genuinely excited. Okay, so let's have a look at this case while I try not to destroy my back. So let's take off the glass side panel so when I turn it around I don't do some reflecto porn of Kath. She don't like that. Rasputin says, should I try and buy a new graphics card? No. If it was working before and then you did the driver update and then it doesn't work, then I'd imagine something's gone wrong with the driver update. Maybe try looking up, maybe actually if someone in the chat can help us out here, send a link to my NVIDIA graphics uninstaller video. That might be useful to you. This basically tells you how to use DDU to uninstall the existing driver, and then I would suggest let Windows Update to do the driver update and see how that goes. That might work out for you. So here is the case. So it's nice and open actually. There's lots of room there, and it only comes with one fan installed. I do actually have another set of RIOTORO RGB fans, but they do actually run quite loud. I think the minimum speed on them is like 900 RPM, which in a slightly kind of less structurally sound case does resonate a little bit. So yeah, we won't be using that. So let us put the power supply in first of all, and then we can start routing some of the cables. There is going to be quite a few cables on this, and unfortunately, because the power supply isn't modular, which is a shame, but again, at this price, you can understand that it's a very cost-effective. I'm not going to say cheap because it's not a cheap power supply. It is a medium power supply, I would say, in my honest opinion. And again, for this sort of setup where there's not a lot really going on, it's going to be absolutely fine. I've run this power supply with my Ryzen 5 2600 along with an RX 580. All the fans you can see in the PC in the background, or you probably can't at the moment, but all the fans you can see in the PC, there's 6 of them in there. You can only see 3 at the moment, I think, because 2 on the side and 1 on that. No, 2 there, 1 there, and there's 3 on the bottom of it as well. So it was powering all that, and it ran absolutely fine with one of these power supplies. So I don't see it being an issue at all. Now with the power supply, we're going to use it face down because this case does have a mesh grill on the bottom of it.
That one yet, babe?
Is that going to see that? Let's have a look. So you can see that all right. So we'll get these cables out of the way. All we're going to do, there's no basement in this thing, so all we've got to do is just plop it in the bottom there and line it up, and then we can tighten up the screws. Happy days. Simples. So how are you all doing? How's everyone coping under the lockdown at the moment? Everyone going a bit stir crazy? Have you all spent your furlough checks yet, or your what do they call it in America? What do they call the checks over in America? Stimulus checks. Have you spent all your stimulus checks yet? If so, what have you bought with your stimulus checks or your furlough checks? I want to know in the comments. Let's see who is abused their check the most. Hopefully, some of you have actually bought food with it. But even if you haven't, as long as you enjoy it and do something you like, that's the whole part of it, isn't it, really? Right, so now we're going to push through these cables, all of them out through the back, and then we can start wiring up things, put them in the appropriate places. Unfortunately, we have got quite a lot of cable, but because it's all nice black cabling, it should hide quite well. And actually the tempered glass on this is quite dark, so it should be fine. What I might do is when I do this is leave some of the extra cabling actually inside the chassis for things like a graphics card or something at a later date, just to leave it so it's nice and easy to access. That's one thing that when people build PCs, if they make it too nice and tidy, it really does make it a pain in the ass when you want to upgrade. So,
Deadpool said a tip for sellotape to fold over the end after each use.
Oh yeah, folding over the sellotape after each use, that is a good idea. I wish I had done that, to be honest with you.
Andrew Farrell, should I overclock my R5 2400G?
Yes, you should. You should overclock your 2400G. Especially the graphics part of it. You can get quite a lot of extra performance out of those. Although saying that, these days, most of the time with precision boost enabled, is it really worth it? Is it a bronze label power supply? Yes, it is. We don't use anything else other than bronze rating as a minimum nowadays, just to be a bit safe and secure with our components.
Carbine 15 spent all his money on canned food and shotguns.
Canned food and shotguns for your stimulus check. That sounds like a pretty reasonable thing to do.
How expensive is it to make all these amazing PCs?
How, what, sorry?
Expensive is it to make these PCs?
How expensive is it to make all these PCs? It's not necessarily that expensive. A lot of the expense comes from kind of having the latest and greatest. So if you're quite happy to be a little bit behind the curve, you can actually pick up some stellar bargains. Although saying that, the second-hand market now is kind of got to the point where everyone's cottoned on to the fact. So if you're looking for a graphics card like a GTX 1070, those are really, really expensive at the moment. Like really expensive. So you might not want to get one of those at the moment. They are generating, or they are commanding a lot more money.
How much is this one worth?
How much is this one worth? When it's done, that's a very good question. I really don't know. That is, maybe someone can put some ideas in the comment section. Actually, how much is this thing worth when it's done? So let's total up the parts. So the processor.
Let them do it first.
Yeah, I'll let you guys do it and see what you come up with. Maybe go on PC Part Picker. Actually, saying that, a lot of this stuff won't be on there. The case definitely isn't, because PC Part Picker don't seem to have any RIOTORO cases or the CIT power supply. But the case is, well, the case is 35, we know that. The cooler is £10, we know that. RAM, I think, is probably around about the £80 mark. Motherboard's going to be a difficult one again, because that isn't a current model. If you go by the old prices, I think it's about 150, 160. But have a look, see what you can come up with, see what you think it is.
Clinton Davis bought a Thermaltake 700 watt RGB PSU. It's 80 plus white certified. Is this safe enough?
700 watt white certified. That's easy for me to say.
It wasn't easy for me to read.
The Thermaltake power supplies bother me immensely, especially the RGB one. It seems to me that Thermaltake have kind of gone down a bit of a weird route with that, whereas they basically cobbled together what seems to be a very, very cheap unit, thrown on some RGB, and then charging a little bit of Thermaltake tax for it, which is a little bit kind of naughty in my opinion, because it isn't a particularly good power supply, and especially if it's a white rated one, that isn't very good at all. But if it's rated for 700 watts, then I don't know, maybe it's okay. Let us know if any of you out there in YouTube land, if you've actually used one of those 700 watt Thermaltake RGB power supplies, the white rated one. Let us know, is it any good?
Carbine 15 got a used 1070 today for £170.
That's not a bad price for the 1070 for £170. For some reason,
It may not work.
it may or may not work. Oh, in that case, it may not be such a bargain.
Where can I find a EU a graphics card that's better than 1650?
That's a difficult one. Where can you find a better graphics card than a 1650? Why is that not fitting in there very well? Okay, got some kind of interference going on here. This is often the case with slightly cheaper, there we go. There's a telltale click.
Private Hudson's just splashed out on a Logitech G29, a next level wheel stand to go with RTX 2080 Ti, 9 glass and project cars too.
Nice.
Loving the lockdown.
Loving the lockdown. There's a lot of people actually at the moment that don't really want this lockdown to end. They want it, obviously, they don't want all the death and all the kind of misery and all that stuff. But I think a lot of people are actually really happy just to be at home. Let us know, what's your thoughts in the comments? Are you kind of enjoying the lockdown? I would have guessed that most of you that are watching this, because you're kind of into PCs and stuff, you probably are normally at home anyway. You're not probably the sort of people that go out on a Friday night and Saturday night getting absolutely wasted in the middle of your local city centre because you've spent your last $5 on, I don't know, some cooling paste or a cheap game or something.
Ricardo's energy bill will be more expensive this month. FX 6300 and GTX 1060.
British, oh yeah, I can see that. Ricardo RX, the RX 550 XT or the 1660 Super. The 1660 Super definitely. The 5500 XT isn't really much of a jump up from the RX 580. There seems to be, AMD have done it again really, where they've kind of, you've got the 480, the 580, the 570, the 5500 XT, and also some of the worst 5600s. They're basically all within spitting distance of each other performance-wise, which is a bit rubbish really. At least Nvidia, I know you do pay a lot extra, but you do seem to see incremental jumps. At least like a previous 50 range card would, no sorry, a previous 60 range card would be pretty much equal to the newer 50 range card. And like the old 80 would be the new 70, etc, etc. So you do actually see that kind of improvement with Nvidia. You don't actually seem to get that with AMD cards so much. Although saying that, I suppose the 480 was the same as the 570 pretty much, so yeah, I've just I've just destroyed my own theory there. Ignore me.
Tell Captain Meat our stream started at 9.
Captain Meat's Adventures said, which Dick Clum...
No, you're way down from me.
Am I?
Yeah, I said no, a little bit up actually.
Oh, I'm on live.
Right, what time did the stream start, he asked?
What time did the stream start? Stream started at 9 o'clock.
9:01.
Yeah, 9:01 because I'm always a little bit late.
As Noob pointed out.
Thanks, Noob. I do love this motherboard. It seems a bit odd to be kind of that impressed with a motherboard, but I am, and it looks really nice. There we go. So that's what it looks like actually in the machine. Hopefully you can see that. Oh crap! I nearly lost it. I nearly linused it all over the floor.
Oh, you always do.
I do. Did I press the 4? Yes, I did. So there we go. You can see that now. There we go. What do you reckon? That don't look too bad, does it? That's quite a nice cooler. And when it's all RGB, it's going to be good. Okay.
Do you want to have a quick go through the questions?
That's enough of that. Right, let's have a quick look through some of the questions, because I know there's some of you that have got questions, and if I don't answer them, you get all upset and start clicking on the dislike button.
Carbine said not pounds in it was in dollars for that.
Oh right, Carbine, oh yeah, of course, the dollars. That's the American prices actually on hardware are really, really good. I know there's always the kind of the difference between pounds and dollars and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it is, the gap is closing, although the prices are remaining pretty much the same. Let's have a look at my parts drawer. Where is ASUS motherboards normally come with like a little adapter, so you can plug all of the headers actually onto it before you plug in the whole thing in, which makes life so much easier. And I did remember seeing it, but I don't remember where I put it. I probably put it on a shelf somewhere. Any ideas, Kath?
Nope.
Can't find anything in here. I need a new office setup so I can find everything. Oh no, actually I've just done that.
Maybe we should change it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll change it all around tomorrow. What the hell have I done with that? Did I put it? Oh, I know where I put it. Oh, there's a drink down there. Ouch, standing on my microphone. Where is it?
Mine that glass.
Ah, I know where it is, because there is another X370 Prime motherboard up here. And I'm pretty sure I put it down there next to it to remind me. Yes, I did. Excrement. Stay. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. Let's actually put it on the other camera.
Saggy ass.
Saggy ass jeans, I know. Well, I'm on for 5 weeks. There is the little adapter. So hopefully you can see that. And ASUS actually supply these, so you can plug in all your bits on there and then just plug that one single header on. And I'm not sure if you can quite make it out on the camera because the focus is probably absolutely rubbish, but you can actually see on there it's clearly labeled what goes on where, so it makes life a little bit easier. So right, don't need the motherboard box anymore. Oh, shouldn't have touched that. Oh no, wrong camera. There we go. So what we do now is connect up the headers. Oh, sorry, I was going to do the questions, right? Sorry, I apologise. Let's do some of these questions. I'm not sure what questions I've missed out on, but there we go. Which Rimro says, hey Kath, good to see another case upgrade going on. I'm new to PC, so it took me ever to take C. Not sure what that means, but oh, take everything out of the old case. I get it. Yep. Ascended says the lockdown is going to save me a small fortune off the price of a new apartment I was set to buy before the whole pandemic occurred. So enjoying that aspect, but obviously can't go out to see them. Yeah, the people that were actually makes me wonder, the people that were about to get married before the lockdown, and now they've actually had to spend like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks locked in the same house together. Are they still likely to get married, or do you think some of them have maybe thought, I don't know. Captain Meets Avenger says a bit of box action on a Wednesday. Boom! Like and share. That sounds like a great idea. You should definitely do that. Captain Meets Adventure says, Private Hudson, best name in here tonight. It's game over. Yeah, Private Hudson's a good one. Is that from... oh, can't think what the film is now. Is it Apocalypse Now? Can't think what the film is now.
British News says, at Pierre Plays, he's using one of our Mobos. But I think that motherboard's been in We Need More Room.
It has been in We Need More Room, correct. Kenneth Captain Meets Adventure says, Mike, if you were a movie tech person, who are you going to be? Bloody hell, I don't know. That's a difficult one. I'm not too sure.
Rahul wants help with his i11s.
Okay. Somebody needs help with their i11s.
Where did you buy them?
Yeah, where did you buy them? If you bought them from Wish, good luck. Basically, the ones that you get from Wish are essentially disposable. So, yeah, I would... oh, all right, that's small.
Jojo's asking where to get cheap Windows keys.
Where can you get cheap Windows keys? Now, hopefully someone who's a regular to the channel should know the answer to that. But if you don't know the answer to it, the best place to get cheap Windows keys, which actually are legit and work, because I use them myself, is premiumcdkeys.com. That is premiumcdkeys.com. And premiumcdkeys.com, you can use the discount code MU5 to get 5% off of their already fantastically low prices. Windows keys at the moment, I think, are about £3.50 or about €4, depending which currency you're using to pay with. But yeah, I refuse to buy my Windows keys anywhere else now because it's just so cheap. And actually, if you want proof of that, if you go through my tax return for the year, you'll see that there is absolutely a ton of premium CD keys, invoices, and receipts, because I do actually use them all the time. So whenever I'm doing a build, whenever I'm doing anything, essentially, I always now use premium CD keys.
Came from Aliens.
Apart from the fact that potentially, well, not potentially, because they are kind of like, or have been a sponsor of Mike's Unboxing. But even so, even if they are a sponsor, it doesn't...
No.
doesn't mean that I have to use them. We are an affiliate, so we do get a little bit of a kickback off them. I'll be completely upfront about that. But realistically, you're only spending £4, so I'm not going to get a lot back from it, am I, realistically? And Ascended is giving us a £5 super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Who's the picture on your profile? Is that you? Bless you. Thank you very much, Ascended. And you get the disco light for a few seconds, and you get to make Kath get up and turn the lights off, because I still haven't integrated that on IFTTTTTTT. But maybe we will. UTIT. UTIT. Captain Meets Adventure says, I got 2 Windows keys for £1. It was B&Q. I love the smell of fresh air in the morning. You have smoked yourself retarded.
Private Hudson and it's Aliens.
Aliens, Private Hudson. Oh, of course, yes. Yes. Jojo says, thanks, Mike. I heard you mention a place to get keys. Yeah, seriously, Windows premium CD keys are, at the moment, as far as I can tell, they're pretty much unbeatable. The eBay ones that you can buy, especially the Office ones, just don't. It's not worth the aggro. It really isn't. But for Office keys, premium CD keys, I think there's about £15 or £16 at the moment, which equates to about 18, 19 euros, which for £20, 20 euros, whatever, for a full legit version of Office 2019 Pro is brilliant. I personally can't live without Outlook. I have to use Outlook. I've tried using other email clients and none of them actually are up to it at all, I don't think, personally. So I really like those. Now, is this on the right? Yes, there we go. And oh my goodness gracious me, we've got another super chat coming in from the British Noob. Mike, do you get them from Premium CD Keys by any chance? You didn't mention. Premium CD Keys, in case I haven't mentioned before, are the premium location to get your Windows license keys and Office software. And Steam keys, actually, I think they do as well. Random Steam keys, so you could end up with anything. But thank you, British Noob, for getting Kath out of the chair and the £5 super chat.
Rahul said he got them from Amazon.
Rahul got them from Amazon? Oh, what, your Windows keys?
No, the i11s.
Oh, the i11s. If you got them from Amazon, those generally aren't too bad, if I'm completely honest. So maybe there is light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe we can sort it out for you. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. Either join us on the Discord chat later, or send me a private message. And well, actually, better still, have you tried any of the videos I've done on the resets? And actually, what's the problem you're having? I haven't even asked what the problem is yet. I'm just assuming. So yeah, let us know what the problem is.
Put them in the case and put it to charge. The light is red, which means it's charging, but 10 seconds later the light turns to blue and stops charging.
Right, okay. If you're getting charging issues, the best thing you can do is get some electrical contact cleaner, or just get some aftershave or some perfume, something with a high alcohol content, and give it a little... Hand sanitizer might be okay, yeah. Just spritz a little bit on the contacts, the metal contacts, and wipe them off. Maybe even get like a toothbrush or something. Just gently go over them, just remove any traces of grease. And for the actual charging case itself, get a cotton bud or Q-tip or whatever you call them in your area. You know, the things you put in your ears for cleaning. Get one of those, stick it inside, and make sure that all those contact points are completely clean. Also the same for the charging port, make sure that's all completely clean. If there's any resistance whatsoever to the circuit, because of the way it's so delicate and it's quite low voltage, it will immediately think that it's actually fully charged because the resistance coming back, so it will stop charging. It could be this faulty, there is that to it, but at least if you tried the old charging thing, making sure it's all clean, at least you've eliminated that. So when you send them back to Amazon, they don't go, but they work. Although saying that, most of the time when you send stuff back to Amazon, they don't check it anyway, they just send you a new one. Or a new set, rather. Now this case is problematic in the bottom section because wiring the HD audio is a pain. It's not very easy to get to. And when you've got old man eyes like me and you've got bright studio lights, it's not the easiest of things to see.
What do you think of the Mi Band 4?
What do I think of the Mi Band 4? Have I got one of those? I think I haven't. I've got, was that 3?
I'm not sure what you've got.
It's on the shelf somewhere. Yeah, Mi Band 4. yeah, I've got a Mi Band 4. Truthfully, I don't use it. I much prefer the Apple Watch, but then it is 5 times the price. Didn't need that anyway. Yeah, Mi Band's okay. For the money, it's not too bad. I quite like the, I've just actually been sent the, what is it, from Umidigi have sent me their UFit, which actually is pretty decent as well. It's not quite as colourful as the other one we mentioned just now. The, oh God, sorry, concentrating. It's not quite as colourful as the Mi Band 4. The screen isn't quite as nice, but actually it feels more premium because it's a little bit bigger. It's more like the Apple Watch in design, so that works out really nicely. And this is the bit where I realised that I should have tucked these wires away before I started this, but hey ho, it don't matter.
Hypothetical thoughts, said he.
Hypothetical thoughts, yeah.
They bought the InWin 103 by your recommendation. It's been a wonderful case.
Oh, the InWin 103 is a fantastic case. There's no two ways about it. Well, as you can see, that is the case that is currently behind me on the wall, or up there, and it is it's a great case. It really is a great case. I don't think there's much out there really which betters it. The only thing I would say which does go against it is the cable management at the back can be a little bit on the kind of tight side for certain things, but generally, yeah, pretty decent. So there we go, there's all the I/O done inside. That's all connected up. We've put some wires through the back for the RGB element, which we will not be using at the moment. So we just put that to one side and tidied it up a little bit maybe. So now we just start wiring up the power section, and then hopefully we are not far away from actually getting this thing fired up and seeing what it's actually like. So what I will do when I've done it, I'll disconnect the PC behind me and we'll put this up on there and we'll get a good display and see what it's actually like. I'm hoping, so I'm pretty confident that the the Windows installation which is on here is actually still going to be active, which will be fantastic. There is actually a pass-through on this RGB controller on the front with a single pin on it, so I'm wondering if I actually can control the RGB on the fan. Which one's data? That one. I wonder if that will do anything. That'll be interesting to see. If it'll actually fit, that'd be interesting. Right, that does fit.
He's still working.
Skystalker's still working. Sorry mate, sorry to hear that. That is a shocker, isn't it, really? Still working. Never mind. Technically I'm still working. Technically.
Says, have you ever used up here for cable extensions?
No, I haven't used up here cable extensions. I would quite like to, but then saying that, I don't often use cable extensions, primarily for the reason that I don't actually like using cable extensions, because I find it's just something else that you have to actually find room for inside your chassis, where if you're a little bit limited on space anyway, it's not the best thing to do. Depending on what colour you want your cable extensions, I suppose. Right, so you're going to put the hard drive or SSD in the system. There's loads of places where it can go, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right at the very bottom, where it's out of the way. The person who actually is wanting this PC, I get what they want, or I understand what they want, because they are actually a car a detailer, a master car detailer by trade. So they're very much into a particular brand, which I won't mention, but
Why not?
they want the black and red setup, because that is the colour of the brand which they are kind of affiliated with. Actually, I could probably say it. So if you do want your car detailed and you're in the UK, if you go to, I think it's Sonax Trainer UK, or look up Sonax Trainer UK on Twitter or Facebook or whatever it is, and the guy's name is Chris Channon. And the things he can do with a car polisher are phenomenal. It really is. He makes some of the cars in the world look absolutely amazing. He's worked on all sorts of cars, premium cars, you name it, he's worked on it. Ferraris, Porsches. I'm not sure if he's done a Bugatti. I think he did. He's definitely done a GTR, done one of those very recently, and actually one of the companies that he did the GTR for actually used the GTR for their promotional work for their particular polishes as well, because they put a coating on and they used the car that Chris had kind of prepared for that. So yeah, he is very, very good at what he does. But don't tell him I said that to get all big-headed.
And he was wearing gloves before it trended.
Yeah, he actually started wearing gloves before it was a requirement. So well done, Chris, and thanks for keeping everybody safe. Kath's to blame for that one, so apologise.
Private Hudson said, surprised you didn't put the Arctic Freezer 34E Sports Duo in this build.
I did consider putting an Arctic cooler in there, but again, we are trying to keep to a very, very low budget. We are kind of talking, not pence here, but we are keeping it very real. Because ultimately, people ain't got a lot of money. There's a lot of people at the moment who've been either furloughed, or if you're self-employed at the moment, basically the government in the UK have completely screwed you. So if you are self-employed or you work for kind of 0-hour contracts and stuff like that, it ain't great, is it? Not good.
Kenneth Dyke still working as an essential worker cleaner in a hospital.
Kenneth, thank you for serving. I know we normally say it to service people, but effectively it's the same thing. You're keeping the country going, we salute you. And we probably clap for you on a Thursday. I generally don't, because I always end up missing it. So Kath and Angel go upstairs in the bedroom and leaning out the windows clapping. We don't go outside the house because we're generally scared.
And new testicle.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can't leave the house because I have testicles. If you're not sure what that's about, there was a live stream on it. Where I completely made up lots of things. I'm nearly as bad as David Icke. Okay, so let's get the 24-pin power connector on.
Are you going to be building a PC with the new Ryzen 3 3100
Am I?
3300X CPUs when they come out?
Yes, definitely. Ask
That's Clinton Davis.
Clinton, that is a very good question. Thank you for asking it. Yes and no. Personally, for me, the 3100 and the 3300X or G or whatever it is now, being there are 4-core processors, if it's, 4-core 8 threads is okay. But I find in my particular workflow, 6 cores, 12 threads, in some instances is showing a bit of age. So I don't know. I really don't know. For me personally, probably it's not going to be a thing, but I would imagine for the majority of people, it's going to be absolutely amazing.
Jojo just bought a key using our code.
Thank you, Jojo, for buying a key using our code. Oh, crap. Oh, this is the worst thing ever. So, you know that feeling when you've built your PC and you put it all together, and then you realise you haven't put the PCI, the supplementary power connector in for the processor, and there isn't a hole to push it through. Well, there is, but there's a motherboard right against it.
Can't you get a drill?
I could get a drill and drill a dirty, great big hole in it.
Well, that sounds better.
I don't think it would be, because the case wouldn't be over the top of it. I don't want to take this motherboard
Captain
out.
Meat said that's why we love the bullseye of tech channels.
In one, a cable. Wonder if I can get it to go underneath. That would be horrendous, but it might do the job. Okay, right, I'm going to rebuild this at a later date and put this cable in properly, but for now it's going up the side because I don't really want to take the motherboard out all the way to do all that.
Jojo says you're the most underrated tech channel. But that was probably before the cable.
Jojo, did you say that before I managed to screw this part up? Although saying that, it's pretty bad that in this day and age that you've got a case where you can't put a bloody cable through. That is a little bit stupid, isn't it? Although saying that, that does kind of work. Okay, I'll take back some of that.
Captain Meat says you are the Jim Bowen of computer cases.
I am the Jim Bowen of computer cases. I'm not sure if I should take that as a slur. And he's dead. There you go. There it is. We've got the cable in. It's not great. It's not perfect. But it works.
Rahul, so can you repeat what to do with the AirPods again?
Rahul, basically clean them. Alcohol, some kind of alcohol spray,
Nail varnish remover.
nail varnish remover, contact cleaner, anything with a high solvent content, that'll be what you can use.
Alcohol,
Yeah.
not sticky.
I wouldn't use anything which has got, like, don't use vodka. Vodka is probably not a great idea, but something which evaporates. So, like, if you've got something which you spray onto a surface and it kind of vaporizes and disappears, that generally has a very high alcohol content, or kind of, yeah, so it is alcohol content, or that kind of evaporational thing. Solvent is essentially what it is, so that's the kind of thing you want to be using. I don't need to put any more cables in here, actually. That is it.
Fred Young's Francis spot on now, seeing that wiring.
Spaggy ball. Now, I can put these on the inside. Nearly lost it again.
Straight on the floor.
Or just throw it on the floor, or chuck it in the sea.
The Parter says, can a cheap motherboard like an ASUS B450 HDB fry your system if it fails?
Any motherboard can fry your system if it fails. Anything which is electrically connected to your system can cause the rest of it to combust.
Don't show
Essentially.
bad habits. Remove the board, it takes 2 minutes.
Who said that?
Carbine.
Remove the... I'm not... No chance. It's not going to happen. I'm not taking this thing out. I should do. I know I should do. And I probably will do later on.
Do it now, then do it later on.
Oh, I can't take all that out. That'd be
What's the last
horrendous.
set of screws?
There's everything. Like, literally everything. And getting it to reline up. Should I? I don't know. There's currently 64 concurrent viewers. So what do you think? I'll leave it down to you lot. What should I do? Should I take the motherboard out and put the cable through properly? Or should I leave it as it is and do it another day? I'll let you lot decide in the chat whilst I'm tidying up these other wires. And I'm not going to look at the chat, and I'm not going to be influenced by it.
When you fit the graphics card, which you're not going to fit either.
I'm not fitting a graphics card. No, this isn't having a graphics card.
Glamour, like Jim Bowen did on Bullseye.
Yeah. Now for the glamour.
In one computer case.
A lot of people who are watching this now probably don't understand who Jim Bowen is, or what Bullseye is for that matter. Basically, there was a program called Bullseye, and the premise of it was about darts, and also it was a way of giving away cheap prizes on national TV. And it worked pretty well. They actually tried giving away things like a speedboat to somebody who lived in Birmingham. Now, for those of you who don't know, Birmingham is basically a landlocked city. There's no water, so having a speedboat in Birmingham is not the greatest of ideas. It's like giving an Eskimo sunbathing equipment. They can't use it. Jabant says, do a Kerry Holzman and get the power tools out and butch the mother. Okay. Andrew Martinez says, take it out. Cabinet says, you got time, kill it. Take the motherboard out. You should review GameX silent. Unique case, dead silent. Would be interesting to see thermal results. Okay, that's not a bad idea. Clinton Davis, take it out and do it properly.
That PC is going on the deck in a few minutes.
I don't know. Come on, have a look. See what you think at the moment. It's not looking too bad. I think it actually doesn't look too bad at all. I can live with that.
Have you done the IO shield this time?
I did do the IO shield, which is why I don't want to do it, really. Donas Marquez says, another day. Bless you, Donas. Jojo, take the motherboard out. Ascended says, you've won a fashion show. So Tengel says, don't half-ass it, do it proper. Take the motherboard out,
Take
Jojo.
it out. Take it out.
Rebuild for the culture, lol. It's only 6 screws or so. Angry Dude says, dab if your name is Mike.
Dab if you're going to leave it in.
Yeah.
You're going to drop it in a minute.
I'm not going to... Oh, I really don't want to take that out. I'm thinking now how many screws I need to remove to actually just get the board to flex enough for me to pop that cable through. Right, let's see how many screws it takes to do it. I'm going to end up doing it, aren't I, realistically?
You are, just do it.
Let's not beat around the bush. Right, I'm going to take this fan out just to give me a little bit of clearance room.
Time to be Robo Mike.
Time to be RoboCop.
How does the theme tune go?
Doom, 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 doom.
Don't want to get a copyright, man.
Copyright strike, RoboCop music. I'd buy that for $1. Oh, RoboCop, what a great film that was. For those of you who haven't seen the original version, which came out in, I believe it was 1988, you are missing out on an absolute all-time classic. The modern one, actually, fair dues, wasn't too bad. I actually did enjoy it. It was mostly entertaining.
Look what you could have won, cable management.
Look, who's taking the piss out of my cable management? It's fine.
Captain Me.
Nothing to see here.
He says do it properly so because he likes your cable management.
Okay. My cable management is normally on point, but it is. It's been like really, really sunny for the last couple of weeks, and yesterday and today it's been raining like the cat and the dog. So it's gone really, really humid, and also
3 days.
with all these studio lights on, I am quite warm. Although, luckily today, one of our friends over at Techfluence reached out to us and said, do you fancy reviewing some air conditioners? Like personal portable air conditioners. It's like, wow, maybe, just maybe, here's an actual mind reader. Because that would be nice. Although, do we have the room for it? That would be the ultimate test, I suppose, wouldn't it? To see if they're actually any good or worthwhile getting, to see if you can actually use it in a small space. Because this, like I said before, this is a small space. We're talking like 12 foot by 11 foot this room. A lot of you, especially those of you in America, you probably got dining tables this big. I bet if you're a Kardashian, you probably have got like closets bigger than this.
Sexy butts.
And butts. Yeah. Kim Kardashian could not fit her butt in this studio. We'd have to get like another studio extension, and definitely gonna need a bigger lens.
She would definitely have that PC case on the floor.
She'd turn around and knock the PC case on the floor with her butt.
You're going to have instant karma for that now.
I am gonna have instant karma, I can feel it.
In your butt.
I can feel it. Oh, this is just...
Waddy said, would you recommend buying used 1070 Ti in 2020?
Would I recommend buying a used 1070 Ti? Yeah, if it was cheap enough. Because that is an awesome card. 1070 Ti is effectively pretty much bang on a 1080. And if you can pick it up for, I don't know, 250, that'd be an awesome card. Awesome price. I still use a 1070 in my rig because it is pretty much bang for buck the best you can get for the money.
In 1070. How do you turn on the CR100TG front LED?
Ah, now that is a good question. There is a button on the top which you press and it cycles through. I think there. Which we'll see shortly. Now I've taken all the screws out of the motherboard, but it hasn't fallen out. So that's probably a good thing.
Carter said, how old is this channel?
How old is this channel? I don't know, about 3 years, I suppose. Something like that, Nick Calf?
2.5? No, 2017. Yes, 2.5.
It's probably getting closer to 4, isn't it?
3.5.
Yeah.
Brains.
Oh, you little beauty. Right, I didn't have to take the motherboard out altogether. So that makes me slightly happy. I may have to have a small sex wee. That's very good. So that's the trick. So you don't have to take the motherboard completely out in order to get behind it. Just undo the screws, loosen them off a bit, and you should be good to go. I'm glad I did that now. Waddy says, in my country, the 1070 Ti is 250 USD. used, and the RX 570 is 400. I don't think the 570 is a huge step up from that, if at all, actually.
Captain Meat wonders if Kim struggles with a floppy and a hard drive.
I bet she does.
Used cars are a lottery, though if not certified, many have been mined and abused. You need to buy from a reputable buyer.
Yeah, that's a good point. Right, let's get that cable plugged in before I tighten these screws up, because that'll be just it. Oh, I haven't taken enough cable through. Shucks. Yeah, this case is not for top mounted cooling in any way, shape or form.
Ethan Bollard Holland has got a used 1080 in his PC, got it for £325.
What was that, a 1080?
Yeah.
For £325. See, that's not too bad. I remember when I picked up my 1070, it was a used one, come out of a video editor's rig, and George, our son, bought one as well. Well, he bought the GTX 1080 Founders Edition, and his was £300, and mine I think was £200 if I remember correctly. And at the time I thought that was a very good value for money offer. And it has lasted me very, very well. Something not quite right about the way this board fits in here.
Something not right about that PC case being on such an angle.
It's fine.
God. Diego is from Brazil, following the live stream.
Diego from Brazil, good evening to you, or good afternoon. What time is it in Brazil? I've not got a clue.
Waddy says in his country the 1070 Ti is $250 used, and the RX 5700 is $400 USD.
Private Hudson says the Radeon drivers are 100 times better now. Yes, and also the Radeon drivers are the only ones so far which actually allow you to bypass HDCP content, which if you've seen today's video, you will know exactly what that means. And if you're any kind of video editor or streamer or anything like that, HDCP is a real pain in the butt, because it's basically high definition copyright protection. So if you're trying to play content from an HDCP device and record it to another device which also supports HDCP, quite often you just get a blank screen. So if, say for instance, I'm trying to record footage from my laptop onto my PC via a capture card, quite often it will say and not do it, which is quite upsetting.
Would a laptop be better as even gaming next?
Would a laptop be better for
Don't know.
for working on your lap? Definitely. My screw will not go in the hole. Come on, bite, you swine. Sometimes. Okay, that one's not having it. Why is that not having it then? Come on. Be good. I've decided I don't like working in this case. It's not the easiest of cases to work in. When I was saying that, I'm probably not doing things entirely the way they're meant to be done.
Clinton Davis said, is there still a problem with the drivers for the newer Radeon cards? I heard there's a number of issues at the moment.
The drivers have never been great, but they're certainly workable. Saying that, I use mostly an NVIDIA card for my my video editing, purely for that reason. Oh, here we go. And also the fact that Adobe Premiere also doesn't like AMD cars much.
Dorian Coleman is from Denmark.
Hello, Denmark.
And Marie says the time in Sweden is 23:12.
23:12 in Sweden, so a few hours in front.
1 hour in front. In Denmark it's 23:13. So that's in Sweden, isn't it?
We've got 22:19.
22:19. No. Give it 3 minutes.
Okay, what's going on?
Sometimes push the board to your...
There we go. Right, so done. We've now done it properly. So the cable is through the top. It's looking tidier actually. I'm glad I persuaded myself to do that. Or rather, I'm glad you lot persuaded me to do that.
Dorian Coleman says stick to Leanne Lee.
Leanne Lee.
Jojo says Leanne Lee is the best manufacturer. Angry Doge says that Leanne Lee is good. Oh, we haven't even got a letter in the house.
If only Alessa was here, she would approve. She would approve. I do quite like Leanne Lee stuff, but I just think it's just really expensive for what it is. Maybe
Yeah, that's what Kenneth said. Leanne Lee is good but expensive.
it's really expensive. I would well, you know what it's all about here. It's no secret. Most of the stuff we get here we do on a pretty limited budget, pretty low end stuff, just to get the job done. We're not like third world or anything, but spending a load of money. I actually did, when I did a review of the, what was it, the 2080 from Zotac, all I could think of in the back of my mind is, wow, this is expensive. Which is probably not the way you should be thinking about it, but it's true, it is expensive. Very, very expensive.
Fred Young thinks you've got a screw loose.
I have.
That was a little while ago.
I have Fred.
Saucy, I like the PC, I need a gaming PC. They play it on an office PC.
Okay. I think this is, the cable management on this side is, yeah, not great, but I'm just going to fold that back and everything will be good. So I'm going to put the side panel back on there, which is probably tempting fate, but we'll give it a go.
Force it on.
Right. Okay. A little bit of additional pressure required, and probably extra hands.
Sit on it.
I need Kim Kardashian's butt cheek to hold that in place. Just one of them would do.
Just as she passes.
Yeah.
Hello, Flamey.
Say, Kanye, can I borrow Kim's butt cheek a minute? I've got this CPU case panel that I really need to hold down, and I'm out of elephants.
I can't believe you said that. It's bad.
It is pretty bad, isn't it? So there we go. That is, it's pretty empty. But what I think would be nice in there is a life-size statue of Chris Channon in his Sonax uniform with like a sponge in his hand or a jet wash and his magic glove, just in there. I think I might get an action man in and see if I can make it into him.
2219.
2219. We're having a 2219, everybody.
Does anyone know where that comes from?
No. Okay, so I suppose I should power it up. Which fortunately, here is a power cable which I conveniently got earlier.
Baron Sal says it's looking good.
Where's the...
Thor asks why you do not use a torque wrenches for the screws.
torque wrenches?
Mm.
Never.
Jack Teller's in the house.
Okay.
Hello?
Jack Teller. Good evening, Jax. Now, is that RGB doing the same as what's on the front now, Kath? It is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Bloody hell, it's only actually gone and done it. Can't
Yeah.
see.
That's red, blue, green, like. Oh, you can see on the monitor, can't you?
Yeah. So what's that, cycling colours now? I cannot believe I've actually managed to synchronise the RGB. I didn't think that was going to be a thing. So what have we got now? It's a shame I can't see both sides at the same time.
Matthew Daisy, as if the side panel fits, cable management is good enough.
Yeah, that's right. If the side panels go on, we're all good. How's about that? That looks pretty nice, doesn't it?
Can't see that.
What? How's about that then? Now then.
Jojo says, getting ready to build a system with Cougar Gemini M with a B450M steel legend board. Does Mike have an opinion on Cougar cases?
Not sure. I can't see what's... Your screen isn't as live as mine, I don't think, is it? I can't see what's going on now. But that looks pretty darn good. Ascended says, for what you spent on parts, that looks great. Thank you. Jax Teller says it looks like David Guetta's turntables. Fred Young says it's Knight Rider. AKA Liam says it looks clean. Ricardo says looks nice. Jojo says it's alive.
Weird science.
Private Husband says, did you fit the SSD? Yeah, the SSD is down here, and because it's nicely blacked out, you can see it pretty easily. Ghost Adder says, any pink option? There definitely is. Thor Odinson says, never use torque wrenches. Never use torque wrenches. Okay, that's different to build PCs or other stuff in Britain and Germany. Okay. Jack Center says, is that expensive? No, actually. Did you guys actually put in the comments how much you actually think this PC is worth? I'm going to get my calculator because my brain is old. And let's see if I can work out what it is. So, processor is approximately £85 for argument's sake. Motherboard, let's say £80 for that, which is probably a little bit off, but we'll go with that. You probably could do it cheaper. The cooler, £10.
Alright, you've got anything between 300.
The RAM, I would say, is about 65.
70.
What else? The SSD's 35. Case 35. I think that's it. Oh, power supply.
57.
Power supply is number 35. Okay, so Angry Doge is saying 320. We're getting some 350s, 340. Carbine says the fans are loud. They are because I haven't gone into the BIOS at the moment to sort it out. Currently, this is probably in BIOS, so it's just going to go crazy, and it does need to be tuned. Motherboard. So Ghost says 400, 350. Adder is stealing my guess. AKA Liam says 360. Well, I've just worked out. Oh, batteries are going flat on the calculator. I would approximate about 345. So if you said 350, 360, definitely in the right kind of ballpark.
Ghost Adam, aka Liam.
Yes. So quite a few of you actually were pretty close to the mark there.
340.
And USBs work. I was a bit concerned that they might be a little bit off.
What does the noob win?
Noob wins a free key for Windows 2055 when it comes out.
Carol Baskin is the winner. I need to watch that.
Carol Baskin is Carol Baskin. Who's Carol Baskin?
She's in Tiger King,
Oh, got you, got it.
I think. But I need to watch that. It just looks mad.
The parter says if you list this on eBay with the title Fortnite 144 FPS, someone will buy it for £600. They probably would.
With lockdown, his guess will be right in a few weeks.
Yeah. Ricardo says, will you make a bench to the PC, or will I bench test it? Yes. I did put that in the video description. I am going to be running tomorrow. Obviously, I've got to get this ready for Chris to use, but I was interested to see what it performs like. So tomorrow, I'm going to go download all of the Steam games and some benchmarks, actually see how it performs. Hopefully, it should be pretty good. The 2200G was fine for most titles and actually played most things at 720p easily, 1080 with moderate settings. So this should be a bit of an improvement on that with extra horsepower. From what I can remember, this is I think a 3.6 gigahertz on all cores normally, and you can boost up to 4 gigahertz individually. With the extra cooling, it might get a little bit better than that, but again, that's something I can look at. With that motherboard, we should be able to squeeze a little bit more power out of it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes tomorrow. But essentially, that is pretty much it. It's all done. The party says, nice build overall, well done, thank you very much. Ricardo says, yes, good choice to upgrade an older PC. Oh, yes. Oh, Mike, you coming on Discord after the stream? Yes, I will do. Jojo says, bravo. Well, thank you very much. So that hasn't been too painful, has it? It's worked, and it does look quite nice. I'm surprised I got the RGB to work with the front panel as well at the same time. I was quite impressed with that. And that has taken virtually no effort whatsoever to get it up and running. And on the front RGB, the strip on the front, I actually think looks fantastic. So yeah, pretty pleased overall. So that pretty much wraps up things for this stream. If you've got any comments or questions, feel free to jump on our Discord chat. We can have a chat about anything you might have there. Kath's going to stick a link in there so you can have a look at that. Yeah, other than that, I think this is a pretty simple build to do. If you've got a build that you want built, or you want me to build it for you, obviously the lockdown thing's a little bit difficult at the moment, but if you want me to build a PC for you, do it on a live stream, we can have a chat about that, and I'll build it and put it all together and install it all and then ship it out to you. Obviously at your cost, but if you want to do that, maybe we can do that. Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. So Private Hudson says it's £456 to buy this setup at the moment on Amazon. Happy days. I'll tell Chris that and see what I can squeeze out of him. So that brings us to the end of the stream. I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next live stream or on our Discord. And this is the bit where I try to find the end stream button, which always goes wrong. Cheers everybody, see you in the next one.